Two more tennis players have tested positive for the coronavirus ahead of the Australian Open. The cost of quarantine will be borne by organiser Tennis Australia. At the same time, Australia's tough quarantine rules have been criticised by some of the top players. But that's a far cry from Australians stranded overseas who can't return home.
Australian expatriate Belinda Long has had her flights back to Australia cancelled twice, and she won't be returning home anytime soon.
We'll be lucky to go home by Christmas this year at the rate that this is going. Something has to change. It's not anything that's comes out of Scott Morrison's mouth is not a long-term strategy. This is not sustainable. COVID is obviously going to be around for a long time. How long can you keep us locked out of our country for?
Her growing frustration comes as Australia halved the number of people able to return home each week to 5,000. Meanwhile, the government has made room for some 1,200 tennis players along with their entourages ahead of next month's Australian Open. But athletes have been complaining about strict quarantine rules.
To have to sit in a room having tested negative, but look, the health officials decided that's what's the safest option for everybody and for Australians. So we'll have to accept it. Where the frustration comes from is that they were expecting to be here as athletes, and you as an athlete, always your main concern is to be ready to perform and to be ready to compete. So obviously by spending 14 days in the room, that gets taken away. So I can understand how that's disappointing and how there is some negative comments about it.
More than 70 players and their entourages are confined to their hotel rooms for 14 days, unable to train for the competition. 10 people associated with the Grand Slam have tested positive for COVID-19. That includes 4 players. Tennis Australia says quarantine costs may exceed $30 million, a cost which organisers seem willing to pay for the honour of hosting the year's first tennis Grand Slam.